June of 2000 here, coming at you with my next part two, which was one of the two movies that got voted which great horror intended horror sequel that you feel like was the intended horror final film in the franchise. I know my part one was Saw 3D. Now the next one is Halloween H2O. 20 years later. I actually don't mind this movie. I actually really enjoy it. I can see why a lot of people don't like it because it's not the best movie because it does run off a bit slow at times, and there's a lot of filler scenes in the movie that didn't make any sense, and they didn't really flesh out the character John Strode. Wait, Josh or John? Yeah, John Strode, who's Laurie Strode's son, who's played by Josh Hartnett. And yeah, this movie I feel still holds up. It's much better than the H 2018 film, Halloween 2018. Just don't care for that movie at all. But yeah, H2O, I feel it holds up. Like there's some stuff that I could tell it didn't hold up. Like some of the filler scenes does drag on forever in some parts. The John Strode character didn't really get fleshed out that much. They thought it was just a generic character because they didn't really focus on the character too much, like having like a story and an arc. It was just like he was just thrown there. That's what pretty much what the character John Strode, who's Laurie Strode's son in that movie, is about. He just feels generic. But I thought Laurie Strode was great in this movie. Like the character that Laurie Strode is played by Jamie Lee Curtis once again, who does a great performance, shows a lot of energy, shows some a lot of passion in the performance, not giving a half-ass performance, not giving it a boring performance. She gives it all, and you feel emotional about her when she's dealing with her PTSD about Michael Myers, all this day about Halloween coming again. Like you feel for her, like what's going on. It's done better here than the 2018 Halloween film. And yeah, this movie starts off 20 years later, Halloween 1998. Marion Chambers is the one that took care of Dr. Simon Loomis before he died in this storyline, and her house gets ransacked until like she gets helped by two teenagers. One of them's played by a young John. One is played by Joseph Gordon Levitt. Yep, and he's one of the characters that has like the hockey mask, which is kind of funny that it referenced to like Jason, but he gets killed too. He gets like a hockey skate puck, no, like a hockey. He gets like a hockey shoe stuck into his face, like the blade piece of it shoved into his face, like stabbing his face. Like it's a very brutal visual that you see it, and on she gets killed by Michael Myers before she can yell to the cops. She gets her throat slit, and Michael gets away in an old school car, and then they're investigating what's going on. And now it's 20 years later. Laurie Strode's having nightmares about Michael Myers and him coming back. And then she's teaching this. She's teaching. She's like a professor that teaches at this university school or high school that her son goes to, and he has a girlfriend that's played by Michelle Williams that's playing this character Molly. Like these characters, they didn't really flesh them out. They didn't really like have more story on them. They just put them in. They just throw them in there to be generic and not well fleshed out and shit. Like that's probably the problem with this movie. It does have some characters like it does have some characters development that does lack in the film. But all in all, I do enjoy this film with the purpose of being a really good Halloween film that came out. And yeah, this movie was really good for what it is. Laurie Strode is dealing with her PTSD, and she is accompanied by her friend, who's one of the deans of the college, played by played by Adam Arkin, who is like the son of Alan Arkin, and Alan Arkin's a good actor. So like that's pretty cool that his dad in is one of the famous actors, Alan Arkin. It sucks his scene, like he had an extended scene that it's only seen on the TV cut, or it's in a deleted scene that's in a special feature from the Screen Factory edition, because I have the shitty Paraprix for a Cray edition where it has nothing, no features. But there was a scene that I felt like they should have added there. Like this was better than some of the bullshit filler scenes like that they had in the movie. Like, scenes with Josh and his friend. Like they could have cut some of that shit out, and they could have put this scene in where he's having a conversation with Laurie Strode, and it was a scene that got cut out where he is carving a pumpkin, and he's revealing his personal life. Like, one day I was the reason that my parents got divorced, because my dad would go on to work, and then my mom would have this friend that would come over, and she would say just she would just say to look away and not see, until like one day his dad came home early and they saw them together, and they had a fight, and his dad got mad at him and blamed him for not telling him this was happening, and he felt like it was like his fault, that and he was blamed of like that reason why his parents got divorced. And even Jamie Lee Curtis, like emotion, like her character as Laurie Strode, feels the emotion. Like, yeah, this guy is telling her a really emotional story that he dealt with his parents, where his mom was cheating on his dad. And yeah, that scene was pretty good. I like that scene. I don't know why that scene was even cut. I wish that was in the movie. Like, fuck this party scene that they were having with John and his friend. That stuff was just useless and crap to me. But on one leads to another, Michael Myers does make his is coming and haunting to the school grounds, and starts killing some of the kids one at a time, killing Molly and John's friends. Like one of them I guess gets his throat sliced, and then the girl, she gets a chase scene by Michael Myers where she's going through a dumbwaiter, but Michael Myers like lets go of this dumbwaiter and it breaks her leg, like breaking it through, and then she gets a few stabs, and then more stabs in her back. Of course, this is the part where he's like stabbing her with this artwork. He has a knife. He's going like, and then he hungs her body until John and Molly are finding her dead body, where it's hanging, and an electricity explosion happens, and they're chased by Michael Myers. They have a bit of a scuffle with Michael Myers, hitting him with a rock. And they get to the door, banging on the door, trying to ask and scream for help, until Laurie opens the door and lets them in. And then Michael and Laurie have the face to face on the window, like seeing him for the first time again since 20 years. And one leads to another. They have a bit of a showdown with Michael Myers. Of course, LL Cool J, he plays a security guard character. His character wasn't really much in the movie. Like they really didn't have he didn't really appear much in the movie. He only appeared like a bit like he only appeared like a little bit in the movie. And on and on. They stupidly mistakenly kill him by accident, like shooting him because they think it was Michael. Even though the illusion, it looked like Michael walking by there, and then they changed it to like LL Cool J is standing there instead. That was weird with that weird illusion. because it looked like Michael was standing there with the mask on, and of course, um, yeah, the guy that plays Michael, he's not a bad Michael Myers. It's just the problem with Michael Myers in this movie. There was a lot of stupid mask changes that they went through a lot of different masks, and then the one that he has his eyes shown, it's a horrible looking mask, and even the CGI mask is crap. They should have stuck with the K and B mask. That's the mask that they should have kept in. That kept his eyes closed and dark, so you don't have to see his eyes. But all in all, his Michael Myers wasn't that bad. And of course, after Alan Arkin's son, Adam Arkin, accidentally shoots LL Cool J's character. They find his body dead, and then they stand up until like Michael grasps behind him, stabbing him in the back, lifting him in the with the knife, which is kind of like a nod to the nurse that he kills in Halloween 2, with that awesome unique kill where he stabs the nurse and picks her up with the knife, which was the scalpel. It was a little scalp knife, which was weird how that can hold her, but it is an impactful moment. But yeah, and he does it with this character with Laurie Strode's boyfriend, that's played by Adam Arkin. It sucks he gets killed, but he does like it. It is a really disturbing kill because he stabs him in the back, lifting him, and he has like this violent twitching, and he's like bleeding out of his mouth. Definitely a really disturbing kill. And of course, she runs to get my John and Molly out, driving them away, and then she goes by the front of the gate, tells them to get the hell out of there. I'll it's only between me and Michael. And of course, you get the final showdown where she yells, Michael! And then you get the crappy Halloween H20 theme song. The theme song for this movie is kind of crappy. It is not that good. But all in all, she has that badass showdown with holding the axe, and she's going to hunt down Michael. Then they have a really cool fight scene where she's going at him with the axe, going through him, hitting him with a lot of other weapons. They even recycled a moment that was originally supposed to be in Halloween 4, Return of Michael Myers. It was the school. It was the school desk scene where he's like pushing over the desk and stuff, or the tables, or I think they used tables in this scene. But in Halloween 4, they were gonna originally film it where Jamie was gonna like her daughter Jamie was gonna be in a classroom that she's hiding from Michael Myers, and she's like under the desk and stuff, and Michael would be like tossing the one desk to the left and then one to the right so he could find her. Well, he did it. They did it with here with Laurie and Michael, where Michael's trying to find Laurie, and he tosses through like tables and all that shit. He's like going through a lot of tables until she sneaks behind him and stabs him, kicking his ass, taking no names like a motherfucker. And yeah, this fight was really relevant. It was a really good fight. It wasn't like shitty. It wasn't anticlimactic. It was a really good fight. I really enjoyed this fight. And then she knocks him down, and then she stabs him, and she keeps like beating him up, boom, boom, until LL Cool J calms her down, and then the cops come and they were gonna take his dead body away, and she know that he is not gonna get away with this, because she knew he's gonna be alive. So she grabs a police car's gun, a police guy's gun, pointing at them. Everybody, get the fuck out, get the fuck out of the ambulance, paramedic dude. And then she steals the paramedic car that has Michael Myers' body in it. And then when she's driving for a while around a curved mountain, she noticed his body's moving. Like, she knew he's gonna be back alive. He's not dead. And of course, she crashes the car, and his body flies out, and the van, it traps Michael into a tree and it pins him. and then Laurie comes and she's holding the axe that she had used earlier in the movie, and she's looking at Michael for the last time. Michael, and you can tell Michael's like trying to get the hell out of the lodge where he's stuck on. And of course, they have face to face contact where they're looking at each other's eyes, and she's having her last word with him. Even a little bit of a brother and sister touch where she's touching his hand until boom, you get that badass moment where she cuts his head off, decapitate him, and you get that synthesizer moment music with the Halloween theme song, the OG classic theme song that Carpenter has. They played it at the end after she gets that moment where she cuts his head off, and you get that Halloween theme song. Really badass moment. Definitely one of the most badass endings in the Halloween series. I really enjoyed the ending of Halloween H20. That's where I felt this was the final nail in the coffin, and this one's the one that got the most voted. Everybody voted the most for this one to be like this was the fitted ending. Like I agree with anybody that says that. Like this did feel like the fitted ending in the series. This was perfectly ended, and there it is. H2O. They gave us a perfect ending, but they fucked it up in Resurrection. Which fuck that movie. This movie ended it perfectly, and yes, I enjoy H2O's ending. And yeah, that was the part two. This was my review of Halloween H2O. Yep. And of course, I know these two are the ones that got the most voted. But if I would say which one I like, which ending do I like more, I would say I kind of like the final chapters ending more because I kind of like how you have the Saw theme song and you got the ending with Hoffman getting his comeuppance and his end at the bathroom in the original set of the bathroom from the first one. This ending is badass. I enjoy it, but the movie does kind of suffer with a weak story at times with some weak and filler moments. But all in all, I feel like this ending does deliver what Halloween should have ended. This was the real ending to the series. This was the real Halloween ends, not the real fucking Halloween ends. This was the real Halloween ends, which was H2O. And this movie still kicks ass, and Jamie Lee Curtis is great in the film. And it's rated R for terror, violence, and gore and violence and language. And it's 86 minutes, even though it does have like some filler scenes. But the movie does go on a bit quick, and it's like the same length as Halloween 4. But all in all, I enjoyed H2O. I think this is a really great film that ends the series perfectly. And it is the final nail in the coffin. This one, I feel like, ended it good. This was the last good Halloween film. And then the Rob Zombie Halloween, I enjoy as a different film. And all in all, yep, that's my review for Halloween H2O, folks. Have a good day, everybody. Take care.